Good morning and afternoon, everyone. My name is Shatar Safira Collier. I am here with Super Live producers. We are here as part of the 12-week training and certification program, and we are currently kicking off week number 7. Congratulations to all of the members of the cohort who are doing so well with all of their websites and app projects that are going on right now. And I would like at this time to introduce the Super Live producers founder, Maxie Collier, as well as to all of the people who are tuning in across the web on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very information-packed session today, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I just wanted to say welcome to the viewers and all of the members of the cohort. And now, Maxie Collier.
Thank you, as always, for your wonderful welcome, my dear. You know, filling this cyberspace up with energy and personality for all of us out here. So I want to say a belated happy Thanksgiving again to everyone. It's sometimes when we come on these streams, you're in a certain emotional state, but you have to get on camera and you have to present, but for real, for me right now, this was one of my hardest Thanksgivings ever. I have 7 brothers and sisters, so to have a Thanksgiving in a quiet house with just me, wifey, and Jason, and I was so grateful. We could all be together, but it was absolutely one of the most challenging emotionally Thanksgivings for me, ever. So I know that there's many people out there, who felt that and who experienced that, and are experiencing it, and not just because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but because of the pandemic, because of loss, and because of grief. So I want to kind of kick off this show, sending an RIP out in particular to Tony Hsieh. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tony Hsieh was the founder of Zappos. Zappos, yes, as in the e-commerce online pioneering company. Now, Tony Hsieh passed away, just yesterday. At 46 years old, and it's coming out about why he passed away. But, for those of us who lived here in Las Vegas, there have been very few CEOs and executives who have had such a direct impact on the community, on businesses. So what Tony Hsieh did as a young man in the late 90s, he sold one of his first companies to Microsoft. It was called Link Exchange. He sold it for more than $280 million at 40 years old. At 24 years old. And so, but he didn't stop there. He went on to become one of the co-founders of Zappos, pioneering the whole e-commerce space. The idea, and those folks who are the Super Live producers know we've been talking extensively about e-commerce, and we will continue to, but think back into those late 90s and early 2000s. Amazon was just a couple of years old. Etsy was just a couple of years, eBay was just a couple of years old, PayPal, all of the infrastructures we use were just getting started. So Tony Hsieh sold his company and then got into his first company and then became a co-founder of Zappos with the idea of just selling shoes online. However, one of the things he pioneered was a management style that was extremely customer centric. And so it wasn't just about selling shoes, but it was about creating an environment and creating a company culture that was customer and service oriented. That value that he set as a CEO resonated throughout the whole company and throughout Las Vegas, where the company was based. So when we moved here a little bit over 5 years ago, I'd known the story of Tony Hsieh. I knew the story of Zappos, but I didn't know how much of an influence he was on the community, on the people, and again, it just goes to show us about how one person and one person's mindset in a leadership position can set a tone and influence so many people. So today, Shatar and I want to send condolences out to the folks we know at Zappos and to the people who showed us love. And the thing for me, I connected with Tony Hsieh on LinkedIn about 4 years ago. I sent him a message, said I would love to sit down and chat. His people responded and everything. They always have showed love in the communication, but I always had that feeling we were going to get to sit down and break bread one day. We were going to sit down and talk, have some coffee, chop it up, and chat. And that didn't get to happen, And so I want to send my condolences, our condolences again, to everyone who was directly impacted by this amazing dude right here, Tony Hsieh. All right. And so with that, let's go ahead and move on into today's program. So on the top, topically, this is a survey of live stream providers and services, right? This is a compilation of some of the best tools and services that we have utilized for more than 10 years, aggregated into this document. But also, this is a look at certain patterns that have occurred over and over again with the introduction of many creative arts and many creative media. So, is there anything you want to say before we move on, dear?
I just
Or we get
want to say
started?
yes. Again, I'm so glad that the people are joining us. We are very passionate about making sure that you get the information you need to achieve the goals technically that you've set for yourselves. So if you're watching and you have an idea for an app or a website that can really help a lot of people, and you just need to know how to do it technologically, I'm so glad that you are tuning in, that you are watching, that you are can take the opportunity to go look at the blog and find the information that can be helpful to you. And then this specific cohort has an emphasis on live streaming and web video. So today we're going to show you the leaders in this space, the companies with which you can work to run the idea that you have in your mind through your app and through your site. So please get your pencils out, get your paper out, take notes. It's a very, very dense piece of information because there are many companies and each of them does a slightly different thing. So identify the one that can work best with what your mission is, and then get the information and follow up. So this is a very, very key lesson that we're going through today. And that's what I want to
Yes.
say.
Thank you, dear. So yes, this
Sure.
is an information dense. And typically we only make these slides available to members of the Super Live Producers Training Program.
Mhm.
However, because of the volume of density today, at the end of this streaming, we'll tell folks where they can go sign up for one of our webinars, our free webinars. And when you do, we'll be sure to send you this document right here. All
Mhm.
right. So yes, we are going to go and take it back. Now, I know looking at this slide right here about the early days of hip hop and watching Rerun and Mr. Wiggles get their groove on, some folks want to say, Maxie, what the heck does this have to do right here with producing? What does this have to do with what we are studying and this whole discussion of live streaming providers? Well, I want to start off with a discussion about the ideas of how we learn and about the trends and patterns that we've seen in the emergence of multiple art forms and multiple disciplines over the year. And for me, I'm going to take it back to those early days of hip hop. For those of us who are young OGs and OGs who can remember and were participants in the evolution in those early days of hip hop, who remember seeing Rerun live performing his pop lock, who remember seeing Mr. Wiggles and the B-Boys on Soul Train. I want to talk about how in those analog days, when we've discovered new arts, when those of us who were exposed to new arts and crafts, how we went about learning these things. Because see, back in those days, everything was about secrets. Everything was about knowing something that one person knew and that other people didn't know. So how does someone learn in an environment that is all about keeping secrets, all about proprietary information, all about having competitive advantages? So I remember some of my homeboys when they were first learning DJing, when they would find that perfect mix of a couple of songs and their techniques, they would take those labels off the song, off the vinyl records. They didn't want people to know which records they were using. They didn't want people to know where they had marked them up for their transitions and things like that. So when I was a young OG, a young G back in the day, I had to struggle to learn about hip hop. And I can remember the moments and the people and the situations that most impacted me. Okay, so here I was, 1982, just started high school. I was living in California, detached from Black folks out in the suburbs. I was like brother number one of two in the class. I had already been learning martial arts, because I put together a little crew to learn martial arts. And I saw this show right here. So I saw that show. While I saw that show, I got down on the floor and I started trying to reproduce what I'd seen in that program. I started trying to spin on my head and twist myself up. I was already copying off a rerun doing the pop locking. But what we saw there, what I saw there with those B-boys was something I'd never seen before. That's why it was on That's Incredible, you know. But here's the thing. At that time, there was no internet. There was no radio distribution or books on breakdancing. There was no one to teach us these things. But by 1982, there was the VCR. So I was able to get this show on video. And from that point, I started replicating everything I saw on that screen. I was doing e-learning, electronic learning, learning something that I didn't know by watching a video of those who were experts at it. But there was another part of it, though, is that I couldn't do this alone. I had to have somebody to give me feedback. So just like the guys we learned here in the video, I had to put together a crew. I had to put together a crew of people who also wanted to learn, a crew of people who were more experienced than me, a group of people for whom we could become a situation that the martial arts say, we iron sharpening iron. And so that's what I did. I tracked down my homeboy, Willie Canty. You know, I tracked down some of the fellas who had moved from New York down there to Columbia, who had been exposed to some of these things. And I put together my own little B-boy crew, all inspired by That's Incredible and that videotape. And so there I was. This was just a few months after I saw what was there on That's Incredible. This right here was at our high school pep rally in my junior year, when me and my crew were not invited to participate in the pep rally. In fact, some other more popular Caucasian dudes were invited to represent. I saw what was happening there, and I came down from the bleachers and I joined that pep rally. And my homies joined that pep rally because of the power of the crew, because of what we had learned practicing and training together. I had the confidence to come down off that stage, step up one of the other B-boys' face and do that flip right there. That was my entry into that. And then my homies came down and they joined. So what's the point here? What's most important? It's the idea that the old school way was to hold information and to cherish it. And we can see that over and over again as things are in the underground. And these are just a few of the areas where I witnessed that again. The idea that things were in the underground and were only known by a small group of people. But those of us who became inspired, we formed our own crews inspired by those other groups of people. Then we began to collaborate and build and practice and push each other on together to higher heights. Then by the time those crafts reached the masses, the game changed, as it always does. Suddenly it wasn't about keeping secrets and proprietary information, but it was about open source information, community collaboration, social learning. All these catchwords today were just as relevant back in the early days of hip hop, breakdancing, digital publishing, indie music making. I remember some of my early friends making independent music on their Ataris computers, you know, and it was, again, a secret how they connected that Atari computer to MIDI devices. And once they had worked it out, some of them didn't want to share that information. Again, the same thing in independent filmmaking. When a lot of early independent filmmakers came out, they didn't share information generously. But Spike Lee, when he came out from that very first movie, he wrote books, 5 books on all of his earliest movies, sharing generously open information that we could have never ascertained on our own, that we could have never have gotten exposure to without someone who was far more experienced and willing to share information and collaborate. That's us here at the Super Live Producers. These things, this information, these skills that we're teaching, they are not proprietary. At one point in time, yes, we were building and coding and making proprietary things and proprietary solutions, hoping to have first market to market advantages. And in fact, I have been blessed to have first to market advantages in every single one of these fields up here. Every single one of these fields, I was fortunate through collaboration, through e-learning, through going non-traditional routes to be participative in these things from 3 to 10 or 15 years early before they went mainstream.
For the people who may be watching on their phone, can you read the bullet points so that they can see what those bullet points are?
Yes. Okay. So what we're talking about, and this at some point is going to be a blog. This is going to be a whole nother discussion, but I just wanted using it at the introduction here. I'm calling from the labs to the masses, and it's looking at the cycles of the introductions and the evolutions of new arts and crafts from the underground days to the times of the innovators, to the early adopters, to the first people who are experts at it creatively, but then the first people who are experts at it commercially. Again, we can look at all these arts: emceeing, DJing, breakdancing, digital publishing, independent music production, independent filmmaking, web development, creative entrepreneurship, technical entrepreneurship. What's the difference between creative entrepreneurship and technical entrepreneurship? Creative entrepreneurship is built around someone's creative abilities, such as filmmaking, writing, music production, rhyming, and turning those creative skills into a business. Technical entrepreneurship is built around people who have technical capabilities, such as coding, hardware design, manufacturing, who also apply entrepreneurship to build their skills. You know, e-commerce, mobile app development, video on demand, podcasting, social media marketing, live streaming. All of these followed the circles of some of us being together in those labs, sharing notes and information across discussion forums and message forums, and openly collaborating on breakthroughs. As recently as the past year, Shatar and I are part of certain Facebook groups where this dynamic exchange of information is critical to saving us time and money and testing so many of these tools. Ada had asked us before, how do we know these tools? Because we're testing nonstop. However, if we're able to get advice and information from other people who've gone down a certain path, then perhaps we can get a leg up, and that will save us some time, save us some money, and we can get closer to bringing things to the masses, because the revenue, the income comes when you begin to bring this technology to the masses who may not have it. Any questions so far, dear?
Chat windows are clear.
All right, cool. So with this survey and with these introductions of some of these tools that we use here at Super Live Streams, we're just going down the line. All right. YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, or if you only are using YouTube as a consumer, if you want to be a Super Live producer, you need to jump on YouTube and set up your channel. That doesn't mean it has to be public yet. What that means is you need to set up your YouTube account, go up there, add your profile image, go up there and do some basic background images, and begin to become familiar with the YouTube studio as a producer. Twitch. Twitch started off with a guy named Justin Khan, who walking around with the camera on his head saying, I'm going to stream my life on Justin.tv. And he did it. He made an early reality TV show just by making his life open to people with that little camera on his head. Now, in this day and time of mobile phones, that may not be that impressive. However, you have to put it in the context of 15 years ago. There was no mobile phones. There was no high-speed infrastructure at the level that it's at now. So you had to technically innovate to make that happen. You had to invest money. You had to invest time. And then after Justin started doing that, he started seeing people were mad interested in the technology. How was he streaming? How was he making this happen? Well, eventually, through a series of situations, Justin.tv became Twitch. Right now, Twitch is the largest free streaming network in the world. It is video gamers, it's live streamers, it's subject matter experts who are all using Twitch in order to promote and share their content. You know, so now again, there's live streaming available on Facebook, there's live streaming available on YouTube, but Twitch was one of the earliest ones, and its community is super passionate. So if you're in one situation, you may build your first community around YouTube. If you're in another situation, it may be Twitch. But in both cases, as a super live producer, we have to set up accounts there. We have to get familiar. Our clients may need these platforms. It's moving on. LinkedIn Live is one of the newer entrees into live streaming. In fact, it's still in the beta program and you have to apply. And it's not a case where you can just go to LinkedIn Live and begin clicking and streaming. It's only a small number of people streaming, but it's actively growing, which is why LinkedIn Live is such a tremendous opportunity. There's way less noise.
Would you mind sharing your experience with participating in the beta program of LinkedIn Live?
So, it's all evolving now, but very early on, one of the first things we had to do, we had to find a mechanism that allowed us to interface with the LinkedIn Live in order to deliver our content. Now, we could have used OBS, Open Broadcast Software. And let me say this, we're looking right here at live streaming and web video services. We'll do a completely separate course and lesson on live streaming software and apps. Okay. So with LinkedIn Live, once we got into the beta and once we began to do our test, we found that there was just a handful of tools that actually made it easy for us to stream to LinkedIn Live. StreamYard, which we'll talk about later, it was one of them. By connecting StreamYard to LinkedIn Live, we were able to easily push out content. And what's great is that every live stream that we do, like these streams right now are going to 3 of our Facebook sites, my personal LinkedIn, are 2 of our YouTube channels, and 2 of our personal brands, Super Live Producers and Black Reflections TV. All of this is being managed, through StreamYard. Now for LinkedIn Live, by the time you coordinate the groups and doing stuff in groups there to help you build your audience and begin live streaming, you will rapidly see growth. Like I'm approaching, I think, 4,000 followers on LinkedIn, more than any of my other social networks.
Very
you have any
impressive.
questions about it there?
Very impressive. And I just want to say that LinkedIn Live was not open to the public when it started in beta. And so the information that you're getting now about participating in the program is information from someone who's been in the program since just about the beginning.
Yes. And so how do we get into these beta programs? Well, we are steadily reading the trades. We are setting keywords, in Google Alerts, so as soon as I hear about any of these beta programs to relate to live streaming or web video, I'm going to track it down. So how did I do that? I saw LinkedIn Live plus beta plus live streaming program, put that in Google, and it took me to this little obscure form. We were able to fill it out, and now we have LinkedIn Live. All right. So Amazon Live. Amazon Live is another example of live streaming applied that people may not know about. With Amazon Live, if you are currently a seller in some of the variety of the selling programs that Amazon offers, which again, a whole nother course in its own, but there's some amazing options. If you're already a seller there in the Amazon Merchants programs, you can go and apply to sell through Amazon Live. So what does that mean? You can set up your own home shopping network right there on Amazon, where you're listing your merchandise and your products through Amazon. And then you're using live streaming to demo them, to offer incentives for people to go to them. And there's a whole collective of customers who prefer the video shopping experience to browsing the pages. This too is in its infancy. In fact, video powered e-commerce at large is in its infancy. It's only now that we're beginning to see people incorporating live streaming and pay now and buy now buttons or other things like that. So it's a very exciting time. Facebook Live, of course, the good old reliable. So if you are not practicing live streaming to Facebook, one of the easiest ways to do that is to set up your own private group. And you don't have to have anyone else there, or you may invite some folks there, or you may do it for your whole company. Set up a private group, and then you invite people in there to practice their live streaming while you coach them through it. You have them practice live streaming as individuals. Then you have them practice doing interviews. You have practice emergency situations. You practice call to actions so that you're doing a live stream and can remind people of what you want them to do. Facebook Live is a great place to begin practicing. YouTube Live is also a great place to begin practicing. Just set those to private and get feedback from someone.
And for those of the folks who are just joining us now, here at Super Live Producers. Thank you for joining us. My name is Shatar Safira Collier. We are here hearing from Maxi Collier, the founder of Super Live Producers. Today we're talking about a survey of live stream providers. So you'll hear about the commercial options as well as some of the free options that are available to you to produce your live streams.
Yes, and thank you, dear. And again, because when we say live stream providers, it's multiple tools even within the toolbox. And we're going to explore more of these, but right now we're just looking at free live streaming platforms. Instagram Live. It was Instagram Live that brought us such amazing things as DJ D Nice, spinning for the world on Club Quarantine. Instagram Live has pretty much blown up and taken off as an option. It is now, because Instagram is a more mature platform and Instagram Live is a fairly new tool, you'll find that there are some great examples of using live streaming and some not so great examples of using live streaming. We encourage the same thing for Instagram Live as we do for other sites. Practice. You can go make it private. You don't have to bring the whole world in. But the only way to overcome these live streaming anxieties is practice. That's it. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with the Super Live Producers after this session. In our lab session, we're going to be going through practicing with people. And we're going to practice some more. And we're going to get feedback until it's at the point where it feels very natural pushing that go live button.
Yes, and we have one comment here in the chat window. And again, for those who are tuning in and who may be watching on our social pages and on our official site, you're welcome to put a comment on the Facebook feed if you are there from Facebook, and also in our public chat room on the site. You're welcome to put a comment or question there, and we'll be able to address them during the stream. So Ada has a question. So does Amazon have a built-in audience that they connect your sales sessions to tap into? Great question.
Yes, they absolutely have a built-in audience. However, it's algorithm driven, just like all of these. So if you start streaming your program and people start liking or interacting, then the algorithm is going to elevate a little higher. Then the more that people interact, it's going to go a little higher. And that's another benefit of building a crew. And the Super Live Producers crew, if someone here has a live stream, someone has a web video, then they're about to release, we can go right there and help do some reviews for you. We can help do some sharing. We can collectively help push each other's work higher through the algorithm, legitimately higher through the algorithm. And any other questions before we move on to our commercial live stream providers?
Chat windows are clear.
Okay. So as we're sharing these resources, keep in mind that we're just showing some of the best of these services that we use. But today, post or in the middle of this pandemic, there are everyday new providers, everyday new companies and organizations that are seeking that are coming up offering services. So we'll start with one of the old school OG original ones. That was livestreams.com. Way back when this company was called Mogulus, back in the late 2000s, Troy and I used this service to stream all sorts of programs from there in Austin, Texas. And eventually it was changed to became the name livestreams.com. And then Vimeo, the video hosting provider that we'll explore later, they purchased it. You can go now for Black Friday, if they still have these Black Friday specials, and find some amazing annual deals for live streaming service through Vimeo. And so basically you pay for an annual membership. You now get all of the Vimeo hosting benefits, but you also get access to some original software provided by livestreams.com, which is for live streaming. You download it to your Mac or your PC. It allows you to put multiple cameras, and it interfaces directly with livestreams.com. Livestream also offers a software-based control panel. So where you got multiple inputs, do graphics, do titles, and things like that. This is one of the oldest prosumer level live streaming platforms. That is a strength and a disadvantage. DACast. DACast is a company that came around a few years after livestreams.com that also offers. Now, when I say offering live streaming service, yes, they give you a console, they give you a platform. You're able to switch and stream, but they also give you an embed code. You take that embed code from these service providers and you're able to embed that code onto your WordPress site, onto your website. So now your live streams can live on your personal site, just like we do at superliveproducers.com/live. That is where we publicly stream our materials. So services like livestream.com, Cast, and other, even YouTube live streams. All of these places will give you a HTML code. You're able to paste that HTML code on your blog or website and bring the whole live streaming experience on there. All right, so live streaming platforms. Now, there's live streaming platforms that are focused on delivering on-camera experiences or multiple camera experiences. Like we said, with livestreams.com, we can set up 3 or 4 cameras, use their software, switch between those cameras, between those mics, and then push that out to the world. There's also platforms like the good old reliable Zoom. This time last year, most folks didn't even know what Zoom was outside of the marketing space. Zoom has blown up and become the essential telecommunication tool in this pandemic era. With the Zoom platform, you're able to host webinars and live streaming events in a very convenient way. And so because Zoom is taking off so much, many people already have the Zoom software client installed on their computer and on their phone. And so it's very easy to host events on this platform. The platform is constantly going through evolutions in the software, adding new features faster than ever. It's fantastic for webinars, for live streaming events and everything. On Zoom is the Zoom extension that allows for paid events. And again, this is another beta program. If you go to onzoom.com, you can see where people are selling tickets to live events and Zoom is delivering those events. Hop-In2 is an alternative to Zoom. So what Hop-In2 does, Zoom is basically like a platform for live streaming a webinar. Hop-In2 has combined some of the features of Eventbrite and other ticketing outlets in order to allow people to hold multi-day events. Live events that may have a major one room, but in a series of little breakout rooms. This, if we were holding, say, for example, a 3-day conference where we wanted to have 10 breakout rooms and exchange a lot of files and have lots of opportunities, Hop-In2 is great for that. Unless you need your event branded white label, meaning unless you want your event to not show any of the name of your service provider, in which case you have to build your own virtual suite or look at some other solutions. Now, when we talk about webinars, webinars are most often delivered live, just like Shatar and I are doing this presentation now. However, there's software and tools that have become increasingly common, and I can guarantee nearly anyone in here who ever signed up for a webinar has come across Webinar Jam. Webinar Jam allows you to take a pre-recorded video and replay that as if it was a live stream, as if it was a live webinar. Webinar Jam is a marketing tool primarily because it lets you set up a landing page for your event. It allows you to interface with your MailChimp, your other email service providers and other tools and your e-commerce. So it's a whole tool designed for selling, for marketing, for promoting. If you are selling a high ticket item, like we do with Super Live Producers, our training programs and courses, webinars are going to be one of your leading ways of selling. Webinar Jam. Easy Webinar is a Webinar Jam alternative, and it offers some different little features. So for example, with Easy Webinar, you can do things like people could be watching your webinar and then you can make the button pop up just at the last 10 minutes or other modes of interacting. And again, we're trying to show you multiple alternatives for all of these things. And we're encouraging you to set up test accounts. Go try, go test for yourself. Wherever it's possible, sign up for one of those free trials and set your notification, set your alarm so you get a notification to cancel that free trial if you need to, because yes, they will get you like that. Any other questions before we move on to this next set, dear?
Chat windows are clear. Let me just double check this other one. Okay. We have a greeting from Donald Randall.
Donald?
Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for checking us out every week, Donald. We appreciate your support, bro. All right. So this next set, again, now we mentioned live streaming. what I want to do there, I want to be able to have a program and stream it out to the world, either live real time or in a pre-recorded context. But there's other services that let us take these things a little bit further. Now, again, with StreamYard is the basis of our entire series of webinars that we're doing right now. However, it's just one tool in this loop. It's just one tool that we have in our toolbox. So depending on the situation, we use that. And you see this little link, this little link down here? We mentioned previously in another session about affiliate marketing and affiliate programs. This is a referral link from StreamYard. So if you're in our course and you click on this and you sign up for StreamYard, we get like a $10 referral bonus or something like that. Whenever possible, we use these things because we are referring people to so many programs and services that we believe we should get promotional consideration. So StreamYard, it's only been around a couple of years. However, StreamYard represents the next generation, where livestreams.com represents the first generation of live streaming, web browser-based live streaming tools. StreamYard represents the next generation. So what they did was try to make it as easy as possible. So if you have someone who's going to be interviewed for StreamYard, you go over here to the console, you copy this invite link, you send it out, and they click, and they come right up into your virtual studio. And then you have the option and the possibility of bringing them on camera or having them participating in many different ways. We love StreamYard because it's affordable, it's growing fast, they're adding new features steadily, and you're able to interface it with other tools. Again, digital Legos, click them together, and grow something bigger. In the alternatives for StreamYard is Social Live. Again, another browser-based tool. However, its capabilities at this point can even exceed StreamYard. You know, and because of that, we tell some folks, if you're going to be switching your program yourself, if you don't have a lot of people working with you, StreamYard makes it very easy for you to do that. Other sites like livestream.com and Social Live, you're going to probably need another person because they offer so many capabilities. To maximize those capabilities, you're going to need a technical director, a producer, or someone who's going to help you with this. What are you about to say, dear?
I mean, I agree. StreamYard, we have incorporated for the live streams for some time, and it has been a very reliable service. Our guests find it easy to come into the room. We're able to adjust their name with ease. They do not get that anxiety that some people get when using some other services.
Don't be generic, dear. Don't be generic. Let's talk about Zoom anxiety. Zoom anxiety is very real nowadays. There are so many of us that are zoomed out. I mean, it takes great effort just to attend another Zoom event, to sit on camera still like this, to know when your mic is closed and open. Now, again, we use Zoom all the time. We love Zoom. It's a great tool. However, it can immediately create a tenseness or an anxiety with people. And not only that, the moment someone who doesn't have the client or software installed on the computer tries to get in, you're going to have to walk some people through that process. You're going to have to talk certain people through the process of downloading the Zoom client, connecting their camera, getting through the mic, whereas other apps and tools like StreamYard, where it's one-click access, that's one of their strongest advantages, Now, then there's a whole category of other tools that, yes, they let you do live streaming, but these are syndication and redistribution tools.
Yes, yes, absolutely. For all of the pro producers who are with us, Ada, the folks who are tuning in, the syndication is one of the most powerful pieces of this entire connectivity network. The syndication allows you to go to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, your own sites, other sites, all simultaneously. And even when we were working with Sabif, you saw the importance of being able to do this. So StreamYard is one that allows for that syndication. Whereas some other services, yes, you may be able to communicate like a utility back and forth, like making a phone call, communicating face to face with whoever's on the other line, but you may or may not have the ability to syndicate in a way that is broad enough to reach the audiences where they are. So when you have that chance to incorporate syndication and powerful syndication, StreamYard is one that allows that. And there are some others that do as well.
And here's what's key. Here's a key concept. I use this, example with the OG folks. Okay, yes, we can stand up in front of a room with no microphone and talk to an audience and deliver a presentation and be heard. But the moment that someone gives us a microphone and an amp, we can now reach a broader audience, right? And then the moment someone connects that amp to a transmission mechanism, radio, TV, cable, you could reach even more of a broad audience. One of the number one mistakes that we see people making is they want to do a live stream and they're going to stream directly from their Facebook or directly from their own site. Like I said, you can download OBS, Open Broadcast System. You can download Streamlabs, and you can live stream directly from your personal computer. However, these syndication and redistribution services like Restream, these are the amps. These are the amps that you need to amplify your voice and your signal to reach the world. And there's another advantage when we do multi-channel syndication like we're doing right now. Again, at this very moment, we're syndicating to 8 different channels. So if Facebook shuts us down, we're still good. Our program can continue. We can still reach our audience. So the power of using services like Restream and Be Live and StreamYards and Social Live is that these help you create, but they also help you amplify. They help you get the maximum reach. They help you have like master control panels that are consolidated. So in this case with StreamYard, our comments from YouTube, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, they all pop in right here. And we're able to click over here to the screen as we want to and bring up a comment and bring it right back down. These are some of those capabilities that we have to learn and master and then creatively work into our programs.
And for those who have an interest in taking the agency track, because we have the different tracks, the creative track, the technical track, and those who are looking to become agency owners, this syndication is a very valuable piece that you'll be able to offer your clients. Because although someone may know how to produce a video and put the video on Facebook, maybe that's the only place that they know where to put it. Now with the syndication options, you'll know how to put it on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all simultaneously, and while you are live streaming. So that combination of tools is a very powerful thing and a very valuable thing when it comes to connecting the business with the consumer.
Absolutely. And again, these are for live events or pre-recorded events that we want to simulate as live, right? However, we still require hosting services or professional hosting services so here's what we are seeing all the time right now at this very moment. We are seeing so many people spend so much time on pre-production for their event and so much time for the production. And then they have this great, beautiful, amazing live stream, but it only lives on a personal Facebook page, or it only lives on YouTube. What we're saying now is that there is more of a need than ever for people to have video hosting for multiple purposes, for playback after the stream has already occurred, but also for archiving. Right now, there are more live streams being created than ever. Where are they going to live? How are people supposed to find them? Do I go to YouTube? What if my business is creating a whole series of streams like this and I don't want them to live on YouTube? That's the purpose of Vimeo, where we can go again, pay a monthly or annual fee. And now we have video hosting with no ads, with no other people's videos popping up at the end. We upload our content to Vimeo. We can make playlists. We can get embed codes. We embed those videos and the playlists on our sites, and we're good to go. Now, there's other ones like Wistia. Wistia is like Vimeo, but it offers more business capabilities. It can interface with your MailChimp, your email programs, but also it has tremendous statistical and reporting capabilities. So when you're an agency and you have clients, you need to be able to accurately report how many times the video was played. And if you can tell them where it was played geographically, and if you can tell them who's watching it, even more benefits for you.
Yes, very powerful.
Yes, Vimeo.com, Wistia. Now, let's say that you are a small cable TV company, in a city somewhere, and you're now having to migrate volumes of content, more than it's cost effective to put into a Vimeo or Wistia. You're going to use another OG service provider, Cove. Cove has been around, I don't know, I think like 15 years or something like that. But they're the ones who have serviced the newspapers, the magazines, the high-end enterprise clients, who need volumes of libraries of work that can integrate very easily. But again, you may start with Vimeo, you may grow to Wistia, you may end up with Cove. Any questions before we move on?
Yes, we have a question from Ardell. He asks, is there a streaming platform that allows you to take callers from your audience?
So there are podcasting platforms, Ardell, that allow you to do video interviews, and those integrate natively. I'll have to look up a couple of them, for you. I don't even want to throw out any names. I'll find out exactly for you. But yes, there are. Now, how can we? There are other ways that we can do it as well, though. So, for example, you can set up a Google Voice number, and you can get a free number. You go to google.com. You go up into the corner in your little checkbox, or even just go google.com/voice. So now you're able to get a free Google Voice number, right? And that Google Voice number can be forwarded to any phone line that you want to. So then basically we can bring in the audio as a feed from the Google Voice. Basically, we can forward from the Google Voice to our phone and bring it right in as a source, like on the camera. So it'll be like a person up here on the screen. So yes, there's ways to jerry rig all of that. And then there's others that's native as well. Okay. What was that one, dear? Blog Talk Radio.
Yes.
Blog Talk Radio was the one that we used for many years before podcasting blew up. Blog Talk Radio allows you to very easily set up podcasting services with people calling in, and then embed. Again, take that embed code and embed it on your website. And so now people can call in and you have multiple callers. So you may have a live video streaming window on one side and your Blog Talk Radio embed on another, and other services offer it as well too. So what's the difference between video hosting and video archiving? So video hosting is when we're using a service like Vimeo or Wistia to store our videos and to give us embed codes and to distribute those videos for us and handle volumes of traffic. If mad people come to our page to have a Vimeo video embedded on it, it can handle it. On the other hand, with archiving, that means we've created a program or a show, and we need to put that somewhere safe where we can use it and access it, where the team can access it. However, we may not be expecting large volumes of people to download that or to use that. It may be small volumes, so that's the difference between archiving and hosting. With hosting, we need to be able to accommodate something becoming very successful and a high volume of people watching it. With archiving it, we need to be able to store stuff safely, securely, and know it's there when we get back to it. So if we've created a live stream program on StreamYard, that program is only going to stay in our StreamYard for 15 days. So that program is only going to stay in our StreamYard for 15 days. Is everyone hearing us okay? Are you hearing me okay, dear?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you fine. And if there's anyone who cannot, if you can hear us, if you can go ahead and put a message here in the private chat. And if you are having audio issues or you need additional information typed in the chat window, if you can please go ahead and share that with us now, and we'll provide that information.
Yep.
Audio is good. Yes, you're clear. Yep.
All right, good. Yep. So video archiving services. So we've made a great program. We need to put this program somewhere securely and know it's going to be there and be able to share it easily when we need to. Well, one of the first places is Google Drive. Because we have already been encouraging people to go to Google Suites and set up your professional G Suite account, you're going to have a Google Drive, or even if you just have a Gmail, you have a Google Drive, a cloud storage site. So if you've completed your program and you need it archived, like I have Google Drive documents archived, I think from 2008, 2009 or something, so it's the idea that you could put it up in the cloud, it's safe and it's there. One of the first places is Google Drive. As soon as you run out of space, you pay a little $5, a little $10, you can upgrade that drive as you need. Right now, we maintain a 2 terabyte Google Drive in order to communicate with all of our freelancers and all of our team. I can't begin to say how helpful that has been to be able to just send a link to people with a safe folder and say, upload your big videos here, and we have immediate access. Again, reducing the link sharing and the emails. Dropbox. So after Google Drive pioneered, Dropbox said, hey, we're going to set up a company just focusing on cloud storage. So you can go set up a free account on Dropbox and get a limited amount of storage. You can upload your programs there, and plenty of people all over the world use Dropbox. It's not foreign, it's not uncommon. It's very easy to use. Now, Amazon. As we've mentioned before, Amazon has a massive infrastructure of a variety of cloud computers, storage, services, a whole network of things. So if you haven't already, go set up your free Amazon developers account. You can go get a free trial for 1 year where you get access to every service that Amazon utilizes. So when it comes to storing videos in the cloud for archival purposes, it's the Amazon S3 program. With the Amazon S3 program, you can interface that directly to your website, to your video training. You can interface it to all sorts of tools, your mobile apps. So now you have a enterprise, massively scalable storage space. Now, the only thing about Amazon S3 is very technical in its setup. So if you're not technically oriented, or if you don't have someone technical on your team, go with Google Drive, go with Dropbox. But if you're looking for maximum value and scalability, it's going to be Amazon S3 all day long. All right. Now, we talked about the need to store some programs to be redistributed with embed codes, MEO. We talked about the need to archive video in order to have it for later purposes. Google Drive, Dropbox. When we are building scalable websites, when we're building OTT TV apps, when we're building mobile apps, there's another type of video storage that we have to have. And that's called a video content distribution network, a video CDN. Now, Akami has been around for 20 years, sharing video. It maintains a network of computers around the world where professional enterprise companies can upload their content, and then it's pushed out massively around the world. So again, this idea of redistribution, but in this case, the content distribution networks. So this is the enterprise level leader. Wowza is another content distribution streaming service provider. IBM Cloud Video, another provider. Amazon CloudFront, another provider. Now, why are we bringing this up right now? Because if you're working, and Cloudflare as well. So if you're working with a client, Bunny CDN, we have all of these are in our document. Actually, let me just go through these. So Amazon CloudFront, we mentioned that. Cloudflare provides content distribution networks for most of the major businesses. What it does is you connect your website to Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare becomes a middleman in redistributing your website. They also offer a specialized service called Cloudflare Stream that is for content distribution. Bunny CDN, a very low-cost content distribution network that offers a WordPress plugin that allows you to interface this content distribution network to your WordPress super easy. WordPress themselves also offer content distribution network as part of their Jetpack program. So Jetpack is a service that WordPress the creators of WordPress Automatic have bundled together a series of services called Jetpack. One of the ones called Security Essentials, it includes a video content distribution network. Now, what's funny is just 1 month ago, this video content distribution network, we used to get it for $9 as part of a basic plan for Jetpack. Now they sell that same service for $25. So this video stuff is moving, it's progressing, it's evolving very fast. Any questions before we go in there?
Checking the chats, the site is clear. There is a question here from Ada. She says, do you need more than one storage place for archives? For example, she has Dropbox and Google Drive plus files stored on a disk drive as well.
Yes, we need physical archiving as well as virtual archiving. So yes, and in some cases, because like Amazon, Cloudflare, these places get attacked, even though they're cloud storage. So for our most important files, we're going to have them on my Google Drive, on Shatar's Google Drive, and on a physical hard drive. Because again, we have to have redundancy system. Like,
yes,
the hacking nonstop. When we're building these apps and websites, we have 87 websites. There are hacking attempts every single day, multiple times a day when we're doing promotions, and so we have to have things backed up. We have to have our redundancy systems.
Oh, and Ada, as Troy mentioned, you have the option to do the external hard drives, but also the solid state drives are fairly reliable. So those are great when doing archival backups.
No moving parts with the solid state drives. This little plugin right here is pretty dope for WordPress because what it does is it allows you, the other one from Jetpack, it's kind of limiting because you can only upload videos. You have to upload videos directly through Jetpack and then they get processed and taken off your server. This little Swarmify plugin, it plugs into your WordPress. Then any YouTube video you upload, it identifies the file, it grabs it and automatically sends it off your site. And then it optimizes it for delivery. It's a very pretty dope program. Any more before we go in there? We told y'all this was dense. We knew coming back from the holiday that this was going to be a dense session with lots of resources, but this is one of the cornerstones for some of our upcoming activities that we're doing with the Super Live producers. Okay, so let's say that you've seen some of our sessions or you've downloaded our PDFs or something and you've come to the conclusion, man, Maxie, this stuff is just too much for me to take on to learn and do right now. Well, fortunately, there's a whole bunch of companies popping up just like Super Live Streams. Now, Super Live Streams has been around for 3.5 years, so it didn't just pop up. And Super Live Streams is rooted in my 25 years of live streaming experience. However, there's a new crop of companies that are demonstrating some of the opportunities that are available for anyone out there who's already mastered some of this live streaming technology. You may have just mastered one piece of it. You may have just mastered Zoom, or you may have just mastered Hopin. You may have just mastered OBS. Well, there is someone out there who needs that services. And these next couple of companies are reflective of the virtual event production support service companies that are now up here. I want to give a big shout out to this brother right here, Colin Harderman. He has Amazing One Media LLC. I don't know him, but I've seen his ads, with us doing live streaming, his ads has just been popping up nonstop. What's dope about what Colin does with his company is he has chose to focus on online event management services built around the Hopin service. So when you see his ad, he gives you an opportunity to click through, schedule an appointment to book him, where you can then go get consultation. And if he believes he can work with you, then he's going to help plan your event, deploy it, execute it. This is one of the many services we offer at Super Live Streams. It's the idea of being a concierge service. It's the idea that you can make it easy for people to enter into some of this. Another company in this similar space, but more technically oriented, is livecontrol.io. We've mentioned before about how livecontrol.io is targeting church services with the idea that they can remotely provide directing services, producing support services, and help take that load off these churches and organizations. Not only that, they will send you what we call a PTZ camera that they can control remotely. So now you can be a small church in Waverly, Tennessee, and you can have someone remotely controlling the camera and helping your message reach the world. This is the power of these services and live streaming. Now, I just saw this service. I just saw this one just in the past couple of days. Now, being super live streams, I have to check out something called Get Super Serial. But what these folks are doing is they're offering an all-inclusive weekly video podcast service, TV show, and marketing support, where they provide you planning, production, and marketing support for your TV show, your podcast. Again, another service that we've offered at Super Live Streams for a long time. But it's validation to me as we see these specialized companies popping up offering these services. And again, another one, Higher Space, a full service agency. They listen to you, they hear your idea, then they come up with a package for you. And these packages are going to include pre-production, production, post-production, archiving, and editing support. Now, I know some folks may say, Maxie, you're showing your competitors. No, I am not showing our competitors, because Super Live Streams is me, Shatar, our son, Jason, our VAs. These opportunities are far bigger than what we can do alone, than what we can handle alone, which is why we knew we had to make this training program. We came up with the Super Live Producers Training Program in order to train the next generation of people mastering these tools so they can go out and reach the places and the people and organizations that we just can't reach, And so with that in mind, we want to let it be known also that Super Live Streams is looking for active partners. We are looking for some technical participants, some salespeople, some creative folks to truly partner and collaborate with us to build. Because our company, Super Live Streams, is our agency, but we also have a production company where we've built mobile apps and OTT TV channels, websites, software as a service applications. So we have a portfolio of projects that we've built alone that we now recognize we have to build a crew to take to the next level, just like I did in those breakdancing days, just like I did back when I was trying to learn martial arts and breakdancing alone, and we realized it couldn't be done alone. It had to be done with a crew, and it had to be done strategically, and we all had to help each other get better. So that's our mission. And if you want to join us with the Super Live Producers, please, by all means, come over, check us out at superliveproducers.com. You can sign up for the free webinar, and we will send you this exact deck with every one of these resources in it. Anything else?
Yes, we have a question here from the chat. Jen asks, when you're having a membership site where you have to save videos for members, what is the best storage or apps to use?
So Jen, actually, that's a great question, because right now, the collection, organization, and archiving of user-generated content and user-generated videos for personal projects or for business projects, that's one of the areas right now that's immature, and that's also why we made our video audition app and some of these other apps. And though the specific purpose of those apps are to allow producers to easily create video forms to get information in from people and then to store it in one place. So right now we're having to do that as a proprietary solution. We're having to custom code these forms and these applications. But yes, you can see an example of that at audition.superlivestreams.com, where we have a whole series of auditions and video forms that allow people to submit their video auditions right there on the website. That's a custom coded solution. There's more that are coming out, but this is where that's a big growth area right about now.
That's a big growth area. And another one that's a very large growth area in the live streaming and web video space is the post production arena.
Yes, absolutely. Because as we've mentioned before, everyone's got a camera now. Everyone's got mad volumes of videos on these cameras that need to be turned into finished products. So that mastery of post-production, that ability to work with clients and guide them through turning their raw footage into a finished product, more valuable than ever right about now, which is why we see the video huskies and all these on-demand editing services that we'll explore in another session. Any other questions there before we wrap up for now?
Check in. There is information here. They say awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Maxi and Shatar. You're welcome, Jen.
All right, cool. So once again, I'm Maxi Collier. This is my wife, Shatar Safira Collier. Our company is Super Live Streams. Our mission is to help the world learn how to use video, live streaming, video-powered apps in order to tell stories, educate, inspire, entertain, and build. If you'd like to join us, come on over, check us out, superliveproducers.com. If you've got questions, you can hit me up at Max, M-A-X, at superliveproducers.com. We would love to hear your questions, love to hear your feedback. And for everyone else out there building right now, find your crew, find your tribe, build your tribe. Don't expect that it's going to come to you. You've got to go pursue it. You've got to set the standards, and you've got to let those laws of attraction then attract the right people to you. So it is 3:07. We'll be back in 15, let's say at 3:20. We'll be back at 3:20 to start our Super Live Producers training session and our lab, where our participants are going to start their live streaming in our private group, and we're so excited to see this session. So thank you all again for checking us out, and we'll be back next week, week number 8 of the Super Live Producers training program. Thank you.